I see the numbers moving now. Oloram, Baldrate Vater, Narvore. Welcome to our 22nd podcast now. Topic of the day is escalating force and how to ID a problem before it starts. So basically what that will boil down to is being able to stay aware of your surroundings. Those of us who were in the military will basically call it keeping your head on a swivel. And situational awareness are key factors in being able to identify these. And on escalating force, that means not starting off a fist fight with a gunfight, knowing what proportional force to use. If somebody's coming at you with their fists, you don't want to start off by drawing your weapon, because for one reason, that's way too far of an escalation. Like the saying goes, that escalated quickly. So let's see. So in responding to somebody bringing out their fists, you just want to respond in kind or take one step further and draw a bladed weapon. In return, they're probably going to draw a bladed weapon or something worse than that. Ending up in firearms being drawn and used, which is not what we want. Although we will go to that point if we have to defend everybody around us, like the tenants say. What you got you want to add, Kando? You got anything? This really does better with a lot of people in here instead of two. So identifying the problems goes back to that keeping your head on a swivel and identifying threats as it's happening or before it could happen. Just watch for people who are acting a little weird. Hey, it's Aru. Speaking about weird.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Talking about keeping your head on a swivel and watching for people who are acting weird. And that's when you popped in, so I was like, speaking of being weird.
Oh, yeah, that's my specialty. I live in the fucking
I know, that's...
zone of Minneapolis.
Honestly, that's why I was hoping you would join us today. Because this is literally your area of specialty. The weird and paranoid and keeping your head on a swivel.
I mean, you don't get out of the administration with nuclear devices without getting some paranoia anyhow, so fun.
Right. Also, speaking of which, escalating force is the topic as well.
Escalating force, okay.
So basically, like I said earlier, yeah, it's all good, Vod. So basically, replying with a fist fight with a knife fight with a gunfight with a nuclear explosion.
I just want my... God damn it, Odie, stop looking at my face for 2 seconds, dude.
But she likes you.
I know she loves me, she's just... we both just woke up, so, like, she's gotta, like, lick my face and cuddle me and...
Like, Daddy, it's time to wake up.
I know.
Like, I want my food, Daddy. Time to take me out.
Yeah, so, like, my whole thing, I've written about, the low-intensity conflict situation within Minneapolis. I've, got a good few books on the topic. Some of the DoD manuals I heavily recommend looking into. There's literally the FM 7-98 operations in low intensity conflict.
And for anyone who was not military, that's field manual FM.
Yep. And then Army Techniques Publication ATP 2-01.3 Intelligence Preparation of Battlefield. That's a new one, actually.
Yeah, do me a favor. I don't know if you have already or not. Make sure those are linked in the appropriate channels, and I'll get those pinned.
Sweet. And then, because one of the biggest assets you'll have in a low intensity conflict, because of the nature of low intensity conflict. It's violent, but at the same time, it's limited violence. So you're going to want more counterintelligence apparatus. So, Department Army pamphlet DAPAM 3381-20, counterintelligence investigative procedures. Again, that's an April 2020 piece. So,
A couple years old, but still relevant.
I also really will recommend the old OSS unclassified field manuals, as well as looking at reading Total Resistance by H. Von Dock. So, because that one has a topic of resisting specifically specific political force that decides to roll in and occupy the area, much like Minneapolis. So,
I mean, that does go to escalating force as well. Once the politics get involved, we're all fucked.
Yeah, well, the thing about Minneapolis and obviously Portland is that this is a counterinsurgency thing, right? So you have a force that has integrated with a popular and a very popular
Populated
political party. Well, yeah, no, like the very popular political party that's been well established.
Gotcha.
So
yeah.
Typically they kind of create their own, but in this case, they just kind of seeded their way into one and utilize that as a means to keep some legitimacy. And even though all their appendages don't exactly work well together, there's kind of a unconscious level of coordination and what's the word? Cooperation. So thankfully right now it's kind of they're kind of working on hunkering down for the winter, because one thing you gotta understand about insurgents is they don't like the cold. Fighting in the cold sucks, regardless of who you are. And
yes.
If you could be an American party, being in a cold climate does not work well for you. Being in a landlocked environment works well for the insurgent, but being in a landlocked cold environment does not.
Winter sucks.
Winter sucks. Which is weird, because your first revolutions for
our independence was fought in winter, yeah.
Yeah, yep. It started over in fucking Russia. And that one was semi-successful. There was a few coups inside of it that kind of turned it into the Stalin variety.
I mean, let's be honest though, Russia's pretty far north, so it's pretty much a winter wonderland year-round.
Correct.
I was thinking more home base was the American Revolution.
Yep.
A lot of those battles were wintertime battles. Oops.
It really, like, those two things aside, because the American Revolution was certainly the insurgent variety, but they had more traditional military as well. So they kind of were a hybrid. They had really well trained and morning, Grandma. They had really well trained veterans of the French and Indian War.
Yeah.
That were still better trained than most of the redcoats that they had on conscripted. And so they had not only their guerrilla fighters, but they had expertly trained and people who were still committed to training with their weapon systems. Oh, fuck. Alright, come here, Rose. Yes, you're going outside.
But it's cold out there.
It is cold out there.
And possibly even snow-covered.
She's a southern belle, but she loves the snow.
Yeah, my dog's the same way. She loves the cold. Like, she'll run like a bat out of hell on her leash.
And I think one of the biggest things that we were able to utilize against the British was because I don't think Britain gets nearly as cold as it does in North America.
I think it stays a regulated colder longer
Yeah.
because they don't have the extreme temperature differences we do. But again, they don't get the extreme low temperatures either.
Yeah.
Not as often. They do get them, it's just not as often as we do.
Those islands are really weird for climate reasons, but yeah. So, like, when they're one of their best assets could have been Hessians that they recruited and everything too, because fuck, I think Germany sees colder winters than fucking UK does.
Which they're further south and just a little bit further east, so.
And then, you have North America, which is I'd have to look back at the what they used to record on how fucking cold it got, but it definitely got a little bit colder, probably a difference of 5-10 degrees than it does now. So, but yeah, no, but that's cold. You get into the topic of crossing the damn Delaware, and there was we used an entire holiday against them, snuck up on them, and just started slitting throats.
Yep.
So,
I may have been watching the American Revolution by Oversimplified a couple days ago.
Oh, I love it.
Oversimplified's fun as hell to watch.
I love Oversimplified. But yeah, you have two examples of an insurgency, and what was more ready for everything, had written documents and everything trying to establish a government, versus a group that didn't have any of that. They had somewhat of an idea, but that idea fell flat over and over and over again. So,
I'm assuming that's the Russian Revolution you're talking about?
Yeah, during Imperial Russia, they struggled to fucking industrialize too. So that was a huge issue. Whereas over in the US, you had experts in every fucking field that was part of the colonies.
Not to mention the people who just wanted to get the hell away from Britain as well.
Yeah.
What better way to mass exodus than to go to a new country that's so far the fuck away?
Not to mention our soil was really damn rich, and the further inward they went.
Yeah.
So the farmers were probably making bank. Their metal workers were probably making bank.
No, we were in such a mineral rich area. Just on landing.
Yeah.
Go ahead and pause while we're waiting for him to get back. Alright, just back to recording.
But yeah, those are older examples of the revolutionary periods, right?
It is.
Nowadays we are entering an area where every aspect of your life has been weaponized against you.
And we're under heavy surveillance too.
Heavy surveillance. We have a huge digital age. We're a little bit past the just the computer age, and we're more into it's a digital anything goes age. So the OSINT framework used to be public pieces, public information, yada yada yada, of a physical nature, and that's something that we used in the Cold War. Probably not to as much success as the Soviets. They were great manipulators, so they realized that if we can manipulate it, it's worth it to us. Whereas the U.S. was we want signals intelligence. Well, that's only great until they cut you out of the signal, and they start using landlines, which they did. So, fuck. So, moving over from the OZ network to the crazy, ever-evolving space that it is now, you have your Twitter, you have your, for better or for worse, True Social, you have...
I mean, all of social media, not just Twitter, or TikTok or Facebook. It's all of it.
Gold mine, your TikTok's a gold mine, YouTube, fuck. Everybody and their mother has a podcast.
I mean, let's be honest though. Twitter's just the new Pornhub.
Yeah, it's the new Tumblr. Tumblr was the Pornhub.
You don't even have to follow people anymore. That's all you see on your feeds now.
So the level of violence shifts in a low intensity conflict a lot until it starts breaking that point of a medium intense conflict. And honestly, you can break these low intensity, medium intensity, and high intensity purely based off of the level that the state is getting involved in.
Let's go ahead and talk about how to break those, because that's part of our topic. So let's go into detail on how to break a low, medium, and high intensity conflict by escalating force.
Yeah.
Yeah, all good. You're still getting ready, I understand. I know you haven't. That's why I was really hoping you would be here today. It really sucks when it's just me talking about shit.
Let's see. Yes, I want my keybase to button update. Please and thank you. Where did I put it?
So while you're getting set up, what would you define as a low intensity conflict?
What I would define low intensity conflict.
I mean, just like a simple word argument between people, basically.
I actually have a PowerPoint presentation exactly.
Oh god. Oh shit. We're going down the rabbit hole today, people.
Oh buddy, you have no idea. This is literally my topic.
Oh, I did not realize the rabbit hole I would be digging today. But hey, it's a good topic to know, so...
It's a topic that people need to be aware of, so they understand the level of fuckery that is afoot in the United States, why there's a lot of turmoil, and it allows you a sense of awareness.
And I just also want to put out our general disclaimer. Besides Aru here, nobody else is a specialist in this area that I'm aware of. We are not telling you what to do. We are not telling you how to do it. We are not responsible for what you do.
Oh yeah, exactly. You have to get a sense of your area, the people around there, what they're going to support, what they're not going to support, as well as the police. Because believe it or not, you can do a lot of things that aren't listed as illegal, but if you start stepping on toes of people that see themselves as your community watch people, or they're, the local hero, or the what else have you, you start stepping into their territory, they get very, very mad about it. So you just have to watch out for that shit. Feds, state police, local police, all that, they get very territorial over what they perceive as their missions. So if the civilians start saying, well, we're fully able to do this ourselves without any problem legality-wise, so why don't we just start watching the activity ourselves and...
Yeah, watch the watchers.
I mean, that too. I was mostly thinking of the uptick in violent crime and everything, and start finding their networks and everything on your own. Like, you can do investigative work on your own. It's not, there's just limits to what you can do without, of course, a license. So...
You can't just beat down somebody's door and expect answers.
Oh, exactly. The U.S. has traditionally defined the limited political and military struggle to achieve political, social, economic, or psychological objectives. It is often protracted and ranges from diplomatic, economic, and psychological pressures to terrorism and insurgency. Low-intensity conflict is generally confined to a geographic area and is often characterized by constraints on weaponry, tactics, and levels of violence. this is not as much the case because the United States has always defined low-intensity conflicts as shit that happens overseas away from the United States. In third world countries, well, guess what the Twin Cities basically is now. So, this is no longer the case, and entitled entities who are hell-bent on destroying societies have crossed international boundaries, establishing branches in foreign countries and sharing wealth generated in one nation to support anarchy in other nations. That is from M. Dave Salisbury.
It's also what the United States has done in several countries to ferment rebellions.
So we are in a state of irregular warfare. So you have very low intensity, which is your Cold Wars. Low intensity is terror and guerrilla, psychological destruction, destroy will to fight, which dives into your culture war, your psychological war, all that shit. Political warfare. And then you have your regular warfare that dives into the upper tier, the low intensity, closer to medium and high intensity. And that's where you start to get more into more physical destruction, destroy capability to fight. So, it's like the regular warfare is present in all three of these, or all three of the low intensity, medium intensity, and high intensity. But there's an emphasis on digging your heels in, creating roots, even if they're toxic roots, and infecting literally everything in your area. So, population is key. You have to have population support in order to win anything, because otherwise
they'll be fighting against you.
So you have to have population support. You have to have, for the insurgents, you have to have a party that is representing of you to varying degrees of efficiency. You have to, let's see, local support. I just read a book about this. Local support, the political party.
I mean, you're probably going to have some kind of international support too.
Well, yeah, that is a big piece of it. You need to have friends in high places in other countries, which they do. They could probably easily just pop over to. We have Mexico and Canada that we want to go border-wise, but there's also states that are more friendly to them too that will harbor them hands down. So, if let's say the example is state of Minnesota, even though they're pretty friendly to them here, let's say they didn't want to set up their militants housing within the state, they could go to Illinois. It doesn't border it, but it's kitty cornered. Because North Dakota, South Dakota, and Iowa are a little bit more of the other political side dominating. So they have to pick a place. They can't really go to Canada because there's strict rules right now with border crossing. Don't know if that's still in place. I just remember they were really COVID psycho. Fuck, they go to Mexico because that's a pretty much anything goes country. It's hardly even a country anymore. But yeah, there's places for them to set up shop. If we wanted a better example, we could have like Idaho or fuck. I'm still waking up. I need my map of the U.S.
I mean, you got Idaho, Washington, Oregon, Arizona.
So like any of those states, you have California, which is the hub for these people. Oregon and California are an absolute hub for these people. So if you live in Idaho, Nevada, Arizona, and they were causing problems in your state, all they have to do is just hop the border. And they're in a more friendly area that'll probably give them some sort of population protection and
some kind of sanctuary of some kind.
So yeah, that's the whole point. Sanctuary, somewhere you can lay your head down, rest, go back over the next day, and start causing problems. That's literally it.
I mean, we saw that in Oregon with that sanctuary city.
Yep. We had the Chaz, the Chop, and various other...
Yeah, I couldn't remember the names.
Those were the stepping stones to create their autonomous regions that became effective in my state. They still have the fucking Floyd zone up.
Jeez.
Yeah, and they keep putting down and building up and putting down and building up the uptown area as well. So that's why I call it the PvP zone. Like, you'll have people rolling around with fully auto fucking rifles just spraying down streets.
Jeez.
And it just gets worse every day. Like, the crime has not gone down at all. And that is a symptom. That is a symptom that was caused on purpose in order to destabilize the area and control population through fear. See, the population doesn't even always have to like you. They just have to be in fear of you and not make the connection. So, you just have to control the population in some way, shape, or form.
Through fear, intimidation, or friendliness.
Yep, exactly. Those are your options.
I mean, fear and intimidation are basically go hand in hand.
Yep. And like, if they feel safer with you than against you, then you kind of have them anyways. Because the way that they'll see the other side is, why don't you just leave them alone, because you're just going to make things worse here. That's
the same
mindset. You what?
Same mindset.
Yep. So that's kind of the long and short of it. I've got a whole fucking PowerPoint on this. And
so how would we go to diffuse that situation?
Diffuse the situation. Well, you have to have, first of all, if you're dealing with an actual insurgency, you have to have a political party that's going to back you up at this point, because you can't do it without political support as much as your population support, because your political support is the one that actually calls the shots. You have to have an established presence. If you don't, you're just guys running around maybe causing issues for the political party that would have supported you, but they don't know anything about you, and they don't want to have anything to do with you.
Let's dumb it down a little bit and step back from the national level, and let's go to
statewide.
Well, it's still bigger than what we want to talk about right now. I think we're wanting to focus down to the personal level.
Using it personally.
Well, not the situation you're talking about.
Oh,
Let's lower the situation down to a personal level. Yeah, bar fight, arguments between people. That is closer to the discussion at hand than insurgencies and all that. I know those are your topics.
See, but I didn't know that. Sorry. You guys just let me keep going.
It's all good.
I mean, it depends on the situation, though, too. You know, like it depends on the location. It depends on
Well, that's what we're trying to talk about.
You what?
That's what we're here to discuss, is how to look for these situations to not to go into the
into what? You cut out.
Yeah, well, it's because I stopped talking.
Oh.
Because the words were not coming out right.
Gotcha.
Not to, let's see,
escalate.
Well, not just escalate, but we're not looking to interact to, yeah, I guess escalation would be the best word for it. We're there to diffuse the situation.
Out of the situation before something starts happening.
Yeah.
Or if something's already started happening, you want to get as little attention of it onto you as humanly possible so that you can just leave. Because that's the easiest point for you to leave, is if you just don't have the attention.
It is, but we're also supposed to go and we may not look for the conflict, but we also want to step in and diffuse the conflict if we can.
Correct. It also depends, like, you have to also take into account your own safety, too. If it's something that is just two drunk people, you can try to defuse it, but, like, you don't know if they know each other, you don't know if they don't know each other. And you can certainly help the bouncer pull them out of there, but now you've just drawn attention to people that might be violent. Maybe they're armed, maybe they're not. We don't know. And you have to make a personal decision. Is it worth my safety going into this to the point where, you know, you're going to get seriously injured or worse? So.
But again, we're supposed to defend those who can't.
Yeah, in my personal setting here in the PvP zone, it's a lot more safe just to think about your own safety and let people do their thing, because you don't know who the enemy is. So now there's situations like, you know, yeah, a very big one is the domestic disturbances around here. So like you see a couple arguing, you don't really know they're a couple, you don't know they're not a couple, and it might even get physical. They typically tell you just to leave it alone and maybe call police and everything, purely because you get involved, they either A, turn on you, and now you're going to be a victim of something.
Yeah, and now you're the common enemy between the two.
Yep, exactly. And sometimes it's just couples working it out, even if it does get, like, people are fucking weird. Their relationships are weird. Everything about them is fucking weird.
Like
There's certain instances that you just leave alone because you don't know enough about it.
I will actually speak from personal experience on this one. About 2 days ago, was it 2 days ago? When was it? Oh yes, it was Wednesday. I had just gotten home from meeting my mother. She was giving me leftovers, and I was exchanging Tupperware with her at local Kroger. Well, I get home, this car races past the corner and stops in front of my building, and I don't know what's going on, but at the time I was just heading inside. They had just gone past me. Well, it turns out the lady that was driving the car tossed her old man shit out of the car in trash bags onto the sidewalk. And probably 10-15 minutes later, I start hearing the dog's looking at the door this whole time. I've got headphones in my ear, so I'm not even paying attention to it while I'm putting shit away. And I finally take a headphone out and I hear yelling. I can't remember anything that was specifically said, but it was to a point that I was like, okay, I'm gonna start making a defensive position and arming myself because shit could pop off any second. Thankfully it didn't, because I heard somebody else out there trying to talk him down.
You have to be aware of their body language too. Like, if this dude seems like he's a little unstable too in that situation, again, maybe he's got a gun, maybe he doesn't.
Honestly, I was just going based off of what I could see out the window, and I really couldn't see much. I could hear more than I could see.
And you can hear it getting increasingly violent. Like, that's something that you can physically hear and you can tell without even reading body language.
Yeah, so at this point, I'd grabbed the 12 gauge, I'd grabbed my pistol, and I had them with me in the living room, just while I was just trying to go about my daily thing.
Right.
So I was like, I better have these with me just in case. Not like they're gonna try to enter my apartment, but if I've got incoming fire coming through my walls, I'm definitely gonna be returning fire myself.
Right.
So the de-escalation of that one was I just didn't get involved because I didn't know enough. I didn't even know any of the people involved.
Yeah, it's better to stay out of it. And, like, if you think that there's going to be life might be at threat at some point, honestly, before that even gets there, you want to, like, hear how it's progressing. If you think it's going to get somewhere that's going to get really out of hand, I would just call the police. I know that not everybody's
I had thought about it.
Too big on that. Not everybody's too big on that idea, but that's literally all you can do. You might not have a big sense of worth for the local police in your area. You might have a lot of respect for them. Either way, doesn't matter.
It's Memphis. It's hit and miss on both.
You what?
It's Memphis. It's hit and miss on both.
Right. No, I get that. It's really fucking weird here. But yeah, no, the moment you interject yourself, you are welcoming the danger that was going to take place between two other people immediately on yourself. So, especially when it's like perceived couples fighting. Now, having two drunk people in a bar, it's different situation, different circumstances, but potentially similar outcomes. They might get drunk, they might start fighting each other, and then they might hug it out by the end of it, and then they might leave. Drugs do weird shit to people.
Yes.
And so you have to it's best probably to let the staff at the bar handle it.
They're probably more used to it.
Yeah, they're probably way more used to it. If they got a bouncer, they're definitely used to it. So yeah. And if they've got a bouncer, they're probably gonna wad you down and everything at that bar. They probably don't allow guns and everything in the first place. So the likelihood of them having that on them is a little bit less, but like only as well as the bouncer's able to search people, you know?
Yeah. I mean, for one,
Or someone takes
firearms
a
in
fucking
bars
bag,
usually
yeah.
are not allowed anyways,
Right.
just because of the
Which is kind of
alcohol.
stupid because, like, I just give you free security, my guy.
But at the same time, you're getting drunk or at least buzzed,
Right.
so the cognitive factor is going down with each sip or drink you take.
That's also correct, yeah. So, like, I didn't get super mad the last time I got wadded down. I was like, alright, let me just drop my shit off somewhere else and I'll come back this way, and they're totally fine with it, so it sucked, but I still had something on me, even if it wasn't like what I wanted.
Yeah.
So always have something on you. It's literally in the tenets.
I mean, anything can be a weapon.
Which is a great point to talk about just for a little bit. Shomer Tech. This is not sponsored, by the way. It's just something I have. It is literally a plastic knife for areas where you're not allowed to have stuff like that.
I mean, 100%. I'm looking at getting carbon fiber filament for my 3D printer, so.
And so, like, your non, what's the word? Locations that don't allow you. There's a fucking word for it. Non-permissive environments.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
So I couldn't think of it either.
Having something like hard plastic, that'll fucking do the trick, God.
I mean, all you gotta do is be able to defend yourself.
Yep.
And the others.
You just need to get yourself away from the danger and anybody else around you that, like, if you have your friends with, or you see someone that's kind of sitting there and panicking, you could probably pick them up and grab them out too, but like only if they're coherent enough in the struggle where they're actually they're going to cooperate. Otherwise, you have to get yourself out. Because there's a level of panic that happens in people's minds that don't typically deal with conflict, and their bodies and brains both react differently. So, oh yeah. Also,
Fun topic today.
I keep plastic cuffs on me.
Nice. Well, that also goes into your job, so.
Yeah, which one?
The one with your senator friend.
Oh, well, you didn't get elected.
Oh, that sucks.
It does. There's some weird fuckery happening afoot in the state of Minnesota. Not gonna lie, but they won. That's pretty much the end of it, and we get to go back to developing a human network and trying to get a better sense of the shit that's happening. Because right now, I'm confined to online stuff and anybody that wants to do field work. And the more tools you have at your disposal, the better the product that you can create. So some people put way too much emphasis on SIGINT, only to get really mad once there's no SIGINT to be obtained. So if you have a good human network, you get the human element as an added bonus, to your product. If you have Ozen, you get to see the text-based chats. You get to see a larger set of data specifically on the topic you're trying to find. So, and Ozen is fair game. Period. 24/7.
What is Ozen?
Open source intelligence. So it's literally any publication or anything online that's public record.
Gotcha.
Anything you can search that you are not using invasive procedures like password hacking to obtain. So
I gotcha. So now would be a good time to go into our language part. And we're just gonna reiterate numbers. Huh?
You guys didn't do the language yet?
Nah. Figured I'd do it at the end. So we're just gonna go off the numbers. I'm just gonna go 1 through I think it goes let's see, all the way up to 9,000. It's over 9,000. So we've got 0, which is Nas, pronounced Nahs. We've got 1, Solus. 2, Todd. 3, Ein. 4, Queer. Basically just like you would be like is or will be, same Queer. 5, Reishia. 6, Ray Sol. 7, Etad. 8, Shen. 9, Sheku. And the 10th place is basically Eta, next the suffix Eta to the original 9 numerals above. So 10 would be Taresh, which is the only difference. 20 is odd Eta, where 2 is odd. Todd, you take the T away and you put the suffix Eta at the end. So 30, in Eta. 40, Kuir Ta, or Kor Eta, sorry. 50, She Eta. She Ta, 50. 60, Roll Eta. 70, Todd Eta. 80, Shen Eta. 90, Shek Eta. So if you want to say 99, would be Shek Sha Eta. Yeah, Shek She Eta would be 99. 98. Let's see. Shek Shen Eta. I think I just saw you post in the odd on odd Bajur, but I'll look at that here in a second. And then if you want to go into the thousands place, the pattern will continue. The suffix for thousands is a conjunction between the suffixes 10 and hundreds. Eta Olan, so Eta for 10, hundreds is Olan. This makes it literally tens of hundreds. 1,000 is the exception for this rule, as it is instead 1000. So for 1,000, Tare Sholan, and then it just works the same way. 2 odd, 10 eta, 1,000 or 100 Olan. So odd eta Olan, 2,000. And then 3,000, which will get rid of the odd. I'm sorry, not the odd, but the eta part, which will just be ein Olan for 3,000. So 1,000 and 2,000 are the exceptions, where it's Tare Olan, odd eta Olan. It will then just simply go ein Olan, kor Elan, She Olan. I'm sorry, She Eta Olan, which will bring the Eta back at 5,000. So I guess I should say 1,000, 3,000, 4,000 are the differences here. Because the Eta comes back in at 5,000. So 6,000 Rol Eta Olan, 7,000 Tad Eta Olan, 8,000 Shen Eta Olan, and 9,000 Shek Eta Olan. So if you want to do the compound numbers like 41, 42, 263, 8,094, for examples, are simply formed by writing out each place with a space between. English is the same way, but with hyphens instead of the spaces. So if you want to say 42, Quitter Eta Tad, which is 42. So 263 Ad Olan Rol Eta N, or Ein, sorry, not N, Ein, for 3. 8,094 Shen Eta Olan Shek Eta Koir. And if you want to do ordinals, like you want to say 40th or 501st, you will turn a numeral into an ordinal, 1 to 1st, 10 to 10th, simply add the descriptor suffix yc, ish. So for compound numbers, the singles place numeral receives the descriptor suffix. So an example, 40th, Quitter Eta Ish, or 501st, She Olan Solas Ish. And that would be our numbers for today. If you got questions, I'll be reposting all of this in the Mando'a channel. And that actually takes us right up to the 50-minute mark, 47-minute mark on the podcast. So we're actually doing pretty good on time.
Right. With the exception of my inherent ramblings.
You know what? It happens. It's a podcast. Why not make it fun while we're at it?
Hey kids, you like violence?
Yeah, not here, Eminem. Sorry, Marshall Mathers. What's up, Kando?
War is how we better ourselves. We found out who we
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see.
As a oversized human once said, heresy grows mindless.
A house divided cannot stand.
Yeah, this house sure is fucking divided. Jesus Christ.
You ain't kidding.
will make slight work of idle hands.
Right? Alright, so let's see. Next week is going to be the meaning of preparedness and what to prepare for. So there's a bit of a trend here. So we've gone over everyday medical kits and the knowledge of how to use it, the benefits of both mental and physical health and wellness, training for difficulty both physically and mentally to maintain effectiveness, and this week's escalating force on how to ID problems before they pop off and how to solve a problem after it starts, as well as before. And next week's the meaning of preparedness and what to prepare for.